They're using their platform to shame people who praise Assad Shakur. And that's a continuation of COINTELPRO. You know, they're always trying to erase and discredit black resistance history. And the fact that they're still obsessed over that sister 40 years later, that shows how powerful her legacy was and how fragile white supremacy remains when it's challenged. But it's ironic, they're telling us to not honor the legacy of Assad Shakur when the dominant white society, they honor real criminals all the time. White criminals, they honor them all the time. Yeah? Oh, yeah. Go look at the Bucci Bear episodes. I mean, the Bucci Bear episodes, it speaks for itself. Just look at the Bucci. If y'all go look at the Bucci Bear episodes, yeah? Go look at those. The Bucci Bear cartoon. But like I said, there's a double standard here. Black resistance is criminalized because, again, the Assad Shakurs and people like that, they were fighting for a greater good. They were fighting for real justice. White criminality is romanticized. I want y'all to understand the dichotomy here. See, when black people commit certain acts that's tied to political resistance and survival and self-defense, they're called terrorist thugs. Man, you had white criminals like Bonnie and Clyde, people like that, Machine Gun Kelly, John Dillinger. These people robbed banks, killed officers, strictly for money. They weren't doing it for shit, but for some damn money. But they portrayed them as, boy, they romanticized the hell out of them. They were rebellious lovers. They were so romantic. They took on a life of crime, holding each other's hands in their hearts. Stop. They're misunderstood anti-heroes. Boy, they really glazed them, man. Oh, Hollywood just glazes the white criminals who weren't fighting for nothing but money. They were fighting for selfish reasons. Oh, they do Hollywood movies like, oh, they get De Niro to play Al Capone, the Untouchables. Oh, they make them all stylish and sexy and cool. They won't do that for George Jackson and the Black Gorilla family. They ain't gonna do that. They're all one-dimensional radical threats. They don't make them all nuanced and lovable characters. You know? See, white criminals, they rebrand them as legends. See, John Dillinger, he killed federal agents, escaped from prison. But they act like he was some kind of Robin Hood. He wasn't no damn Robin Hood. He was stealing for himself. Yeah? Yeah, white criminals, boy, they're giving style, swagger. Or they looking cool. Oh, they got charisma. Yeah? But the black ones, boy, they're dangerous, terroristic. See, black liberation fighters, they're judged by the system they fought against. Yeah, the white criminals, they fought for themselves, and they're treated like sex symbols damn near. And see, whiteness grants the white criminals historical forgiveness. Well, they were a product of their time. Yeah, Al Capone, he was a struggling Italian from a struggling Italian immigrant family. Bonnie and Clyde and John Dillinger, it was the Great Depression and people were desperate and they had to do what they had to do. Oh, we get a lot of splaining to the violence that they caused and the crimes that they did. You know, they're tourist attractions. That's Al Capone's house. Oh no, with black riders, they don't do that. You get incarcerated, slandered, long after your damn death. Yeah, black rebellion is unforgivable. You know, white crime, see, they rewrite that as folk culture. Black resistance is treated as extremism. Yeah? See, a lot of these people, they were fighting for the community. See, these black revolutionaries, you know, they were stealing, organizing, and they were fighting not for personal gain. They were fighting to defend the community, to feed families, to fight oppression. Depression era white outlaws, they only fought for money. They just killed people for money. They were killing cops left and right. They didn't give a shit about no community. They were all about getting money for them damn self, for themselves. Yeah. So they play this game. They glorify the mafia. They love glorifying the damn mafia. They make little movies. Oh, Casino and Goodfellas. The Sopranos. They make all these little cute movies and shows about the white mafia, the Italian mafia. Family, as we know, under J. Edgar Hoover's FBI, J. Edgar Hoover never even acknowledged the existence of the mafia. Do you know that? J. Edgar Hoover was in the pocket of the mafia. He never even acknowledged their damn existence. He publicly denied the mafia even existed for years. Now, the rumor was they had some shit on him. There was rumors that they had pictures of him with his bussy spread because he was a big old queen. You know, J. Edgar Hoover was a big old sassy queen. His nickname was J. Edna Hoover. He was a big old punk. Oh, yeah, we go into the Old West killers. Yeah, the Billy the Kids and all of these people, those two. We can go into them too. They've always glorified the white killers and outlaws. But with J. Edna Hoover, with his little old sassy self, he didn't even acknowledge the existence of the mafia. Only time I think he kind of hinted about the mafia in 1957. Y'all know there was a big meeting up in the Appalachian Mountains, up in New York, upstate New York somewhere. And there was a meeting with in 1957. It had all the top mafia leaders there, and the local police raided them. And then it became a big national story, and that embarrassed the FBI. They're like, hey, all these criminals sitting up here organizing drugs and crime and guns, and you didn't know about this? Oh, well, you know, we might have heard something. It might be a national crime, but we're going to have to look more into it. Yeah. So they were doing a lot of splaining. But damn, Hoover damn near protected the mafia to a certain degree. He damn near protected them. You know, when Robert F. Kennedy, JFK's brother, he was the attorney general, I think in 1961, I think he started to aggressively push the FBI to go after organized crime. He was the one saying, hey, man, we got these people out here who's slinging dope. They got guns. They slinging drugs all over the place, and it's very organized. They did that in 1961. A few years later, his brother, JFK, got hit. Many people believe that the mafia was involved in that. All right? A few years later, when did Kennedy get hit? Was it 63? It was 63, right? Yeah, they got him. And a lot of people believe the mafia had something to do with that. There were a lot of things going on that was pointing to the damn mafia. All right? When Robert Kennedy was cracking down on organized crime, they didn't like that. Also, with Fidel Castro, they were supposed to have had a deal. The mafia had a deal with the U.S. where they were supposed to help take out Castro. And the CIA allegedly had enlisted people like Sam Giancana and some of these other mafiosos to help assassinate Castro. But JFK called off the operations, from what I understand. So the mafia lost money and influence in Cuba because the mafia wanted to do some stuff in Cuba and kind of get a stronghold there. Then this dude, when JFK got shot by allegedly by Lee Harvey Oswald, this dude who was connected with the mafia, Jack Ruby, ran up and shot him. So he silenced him. So it was a lot of mafia coincidences there. And then J. Edgar Hoover starts shutting down all the mafia leads. And everybody was kind of asking questions about the mafia. Like, hey, man, what's going on what's happening with these dudes? So J. Edgar Hoover was shutting that stuff down. So a lot of people believe he was kind of protecting the mafia, even after the Kennedy's assassination. And here's the thing. Think about this thing, man. Think about this. These dudes had a sitting president shot in a crowd, broad daylight, with live cameras rolling. It was on, I think this was streaming. Was it streaming live on TV? Was this stream? I think it was streaming live on television. You shot a sitting president live on television in a crowd, broad daylight. Nobody ever went to jail. Think about that. Nobody went to jail for John F. Kennedy's murder. Nobody. You understand? So that's some inside shit right there. You understand? That's some inside stuff. If nobody went, I mean, you couldn't get an associate, his cousin, somebody who sold the, nothing. Nobody went to jail for killing a president in Dallas on live TV in broad daylight, and nobody went to jail? Shit. Hoover knew something. Hoover's ass knew something. Yeah, that was a cover-up from the damn top. Yeah, if nobody goes to jail for doing that shit, that's a cover-up from the top. Huh? You said streaming, you saying live streaming didn't exist back? Okay. Man. But going back to our good sister, Assata Shakur. Now listen, Assata, they're talking about she shot this guy. There's no, looking at the evidence, Assata didn't shoot that police officer. Looking at the evidence. And look, even before that case, Assata, they had the COINTELPRO program against that sister. They kept trying to go after Assata. Assata was being drugged in and out of court for years. They kept trying to pin different crimes on that sister. Of 1971, they tried to pin a bank robbery on her. She was acquitted. There was another bank robbery in Brooklyn. The charges were dismissed. Then they said that she was a part of something where they kidnapped a heroin dealer. Those charges were dismissed. There was another, some other cops in New York got shot or whatever at a Manhattan hotel. She was acquitted for that. They didn't identify her. They kept trying to throw these crimes on this sister. Any crime that happened with anybody who seemed like a black militant, they would drag that sister in. Yeah? There was another bank robbery in the Bronx. The jury deliberated for 30 minutes and acquittal. So they were really trying to get this sister, and she was beating them. They were dismissing the charges, acquittals, dismiss, acquittals, just over and over again. So they were already trying to frame Assata Shakur. Let's put everything in context, okay? Because a lot of folks don't know this. Let's put everything in context. So when she got pulled over on that Jersey Turnpike for a busted taillight or whatever, many people believe that she was being targeted then. Many people believe that was about to be an ambush on her. You dig? Many people believe that was about to be an ambush. And she got shot during that. She got shot, I think, around this area, which suggested that her hands were already up. So she was surrendering. She didn't have anything in her hand. She didn't have anything in her hand. They didn't get any ballistics evidence on her. There were no fingerprints on any weapons. There was no gunpowder. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. She didn't shoot this man. But they tried to pull this thing, well, the cop died, so you were there in the capacity of a crime, so you're going to be charged with a murder. Because she had a co-defendant. Somebody else, the Zuri Malik, I forgot what the guy's name. It was somebody, I forgot the other guy's name. One other person with Assata got killed. Another brother, Sundiata Akoli, he went to prison. There was a co-defendant, he went to prison. He never claimed that Assata fired a weapon, and he actually got paroled a few years ago. He was like 85 years old, and they paroled him. He got paroled. Sundiata Akoli. So he was there with her, and from what I understand, they suggested that the cop might have been hit with friendly fire from other cops because it was a shootout. Other cops came in shooting. So there was no evidence that Assata shot that police officer. But again, when they did the trial, they made sure to they pulled a Simi Valley move. They went to like one of these all-white counties, and it was an all-white jury, and they were doing things like they had snipers and all types of stuff in the courtroom. They were portraying her as a dangerous terrorist, and they had guards and all this stuff, really treating her like a foreign terrorist in the court. So, these white supremacists on the jury looking at that, oh my God,